guys, how's it going? Today we're going to be working on planting a bunch of bulbs. We recently received our order from Color Blends. That's where we get the bulk of the bulbs that we plant in the fall for spring blooms. And I did go over that order with you in a video earlier on. I love doing that, just sitting down and like poring over all those beautiful pictures and kind of anticipating what we get to see next spring. We are going to be starting here in the orchard, but the best part about today and the best part about this project is that Aaron and I have a couple of friends here in town. They're from the Seattle area and they come down once or twice a year and they always text and say, hey, what can we help you with in the garden? Isn't that awesome? I'm like, well, I've got some crates of bulbs sitting there. You guys want to plant some? And they're all about it. So they are on their way here. We're going to everybody's going to have a drill and we're just going to go through and get this done probably pretty fast. I don't anticipate us planting all the bulbs that we had come in. In fact, a lot of them are for around the Hartley and that area is not done yet. We just updated you on that. So we'll do that later on, but the orchard is where we're going to start. So here we are. There's the orchard. Grass is looking great. The cut flower shed was just completely finished like a week and a half ago or so. Like all the window hardware is in, which is great. We'll tackle a flower bed right up here in a little flagstone area, you know, an approach there this next year, and then we'll plant the grass right here next year as well. Let's take a look at this side. Sun's coming through beautifully. Grass is kind of wet though, so we might go plant bulbs somewhere else until that dries out. I didn't really think about that. Last year, you might remember, we planted a bunch of the woodland blend in this area, and I think I kind of got the cart before the horse because we didn't have any irrigation installed. We proceeded to have a very mild, dry winter, and the bulbs just performed kind of weird. The way we planted them is Aaron came in here with a tractor and tilled all of the area he could reach with the tiller so that the soil was light and fluffy. We took the bulbs, just tossed them out so they went out in kind of a random order so that it looked more natural. And then I just went through and just popped them down in the soil. And it's possible some of those, because that soil was so fluffy, they may have settled a little bit low too, so that could be going against them. But you know, everybody I've talked to, including the people at Color Blend, said, you know, they performed weird this year, but they're rooting in this year. They should perform a lot better this next year, especially once you have, you know, your setup a little bit more complete. So I'm very much so looking forward to that show because it's a mix of purples and white and sweet little bright yellow daffodils. And then I also planted a bunch of snake's head fritillaria and Spanish bluebells, right? In here. So there's a beautiful blend already in here, but I needed to get some taller things. Now that we have grass, what our plan is like late in the fall, we're going to come in and mow all the grass down so that it's very short, and it will stay that way through the winter. You know, it's not going to be putting on growth, so that when those short little bulbs come up in the spring, we'll be able to see them. And then as that grass grows, we will have more taller bulbs there that will kind of be up above the grass. That's our hope anyway, that we have a succession of bloom and everything works out with the grass that we have here. So this is what's going in today. We've got 2,000 of a blend called Floriculture. Let's go through these. A lot of these are real small bulbs, so I think this is going to be a pretty easy project. The first bulb that will come up in this mix is the crocus. And I think it's called yeah, right there. I think it's called Tommy's, labeled very clearly at the top there. So these are a very short one. Look at these bulbs. They're going to be super duper easy to plant. So we've got a whole bunch of those, and then we have some squill. There's both striped squill, which is a really pretty, it's white with a blue stripe. These are 7-inch tall, and then there's blue squill as well, which are just a really pretty clear blue color. And then we have the snake's head fritillaria, which will be our 12-inch tall. So that'll just be added to the ones that are already in there. What else? There's a leucogym in here somewhere. Snake's head, right down in here. Yep, some bigger bulbs. Oh, these are the daffodils. And I think these might be the latest blooming one. This is Poeticus recurvus, which is a pheasant's, what is it called? Something pheasant eye daffodil. They're really pretty. White with a kind of yellow reddish margin on the trumpet. And then there's some leucogyms in here somewhere, which I adore this plant. So these are our tallest one, 24 to 28 inches tall. They look like a snowdrop on steroids. Like they come up with these great big, like almost daffodil looking foliage, and then they've got these long stems with all of these snowdrop looking blooms hanging off the stems. They're so magical looking. I love them. I first planted them underneath the crabapple up in our front garden before it was kind of, you know, we took that garden apart. And I actually moved a bunch of those bulbs because I loved them so much. And then I planted a bunch underneath like the lilac and where we've got a bunch of hellebores by our back kitchen door. They're fairly late blooming and they bloom for a really long time. They're also really good in flower arrangements. They're so pretty. Anyway, I think that that's the mix right there. And so it's a really pretty mix of white again and purple and blue and that sort of thing. I really like that. It's kind of a very cooling, calming color combination. So this whole blend, the Floriculture, Color Blends has several of them in a new line called Color Your Grass. So the goal is to take these, kind of mix up the bulbs and toss them like we did last year and plant them exactly where they lie, exactly where they fell on the ground. It's kind of willy-nilly. There's no rhyme or reason to how they're planted, so it does have a more natural look, which I think is perfect for this orchard situation. And the whole thing is based off of the gal who designed Color Blends like display gardens. Her name is Jacqueline Vanderkloot, I think. Anyway, so emphasis on naturalistic plantings, you know, by the whole scattering, throwing the bulbs out and just planting them as is. My friends are just pulling in. Perfect timing. Okay, I don't think I want to subject them to this really super duper wet grass though. I think we might go grab some different bulbs. I've got other tulips and daffodils that we'll plant out in the landscape where it's dry. Yeah, a lot of moisture. I also need to get some bulb tone and get all of our augers ready. Morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys?
Look, I got my gear on.
Oh, love it. Represent. Nice. So here's Gabe and Katie.
Hello.
So they are from the Seattle area and have a beautiful garden. Can we put some pictures of your garden up on the screen?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, you guys. It makes me long for rain and mild temperatures. It's so pretty, but we actually featured their skinny side yard in our video this past winter. But you guys are gamers to come and help us with bulbs. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do, you guys, because if we threw these bulbs out into the grass, I don't think that we would be able to see them all because some of them are very small. So we may assembly line this, which is gonna be so nice. I'm loving this. So one person will be on a drill, one person will have some fertilizer, which I think I'm out of bulb tone. I've got to go check it out. So we'll use Biotone or Flower Tone. Those will work as well. And then one person will be popping the bulbs in. So I think we'll get through it pretty quickly. And we'll just go one variety at a time so we kind of get like not an equal amount in spaces, but so that they're spread out enough. All right guys, so we're just gonna work on this. Hopefully it doesn't take us too long. We're just gonna get it done. Before we get too far into this project, we have planted the striped squill already, but I wanted to show you what these bulbs look like. So this is what a squill bulb looks like right here. My hands are super dirty because I've already been planting, but it's just this nice little easy to plant bulb. You can see the bottom clearly, you plant it pointed side up. The snake's head fritillaria looks like this right here, and you can see that growth point right there at the top and then the roots down there at the bottom. These snowflake leucogems kind of look like a daffodil. So there's the bottom, pointy side up. Look at these massive bulbs, isn't that awesome? And then the daffodil, see, look at that. They look pretty similar. Right there, bottom, plant it pointy side up. And the crocus right here, sometimes they can be a little bit hard to tell. This one's fairly easy. You see that pointy side, that growth point. And then down below, there's the roots. Sometimes you can't see either of them very well. So if you're ever questioning what way to plant a bulb, just plant it on its side. Like this one here, if you didn't know, you plant it on its side, it will figure out how to get up above the soil surface. done. 2,000 bulbs, yes. Good job. That went way, way faster than if I would have attempted to do that all by myself. We did, like, one of us used the auger, one of us was fertilizing. I just gave you high fives with Biotone hands.
That's
We
right.
have it too.
Oh, we all kind of stink at this point. And I think I showed you that we did find some bulb tone back behind the orchard fence. Gabe found some, so that was awesome. We are gonna go out and plant one more variety of tulips, more Menton tulips that we so enjoyed last year in our entryway. We wanna draw some more of that beautiful pink color to other areas of our garden. So we are gonna run to the barn, probably swap out some batteries of some tools and grab the tulip bulbs. No, that's Blushing Lady. Those are that
Right here.
Okay guys, so we have 500 Menton bulbs. Oh, they don't look phased by the word 500.
I didn't know you were talking to us.
Funny.
No, not at all faced.
Good, good.
We're not phased.
Nice. I'm thinking we should put them all in here, not in a great big drift, but like groupings of 10 here, maybe 5 there, 15, you know, there, and then just spreading them out through this area. I don't have any spring bulbs in this flower bed that I can recall at the moment, unless we run into some that I've forgotten about, which is possible. So these tulip bulbs go down 6 inches. Let me grab one really quick. This is what they look like right here. These are pretty easy. There's the bottom and there's the top, pointy side up. And you guys, they did bring shoes, like footwear that's waterproof. That's why we started in the orchard right away. They weren't walking through that wet grass with regular shoes. Graduating to the bigger drills this time as well, because they've got handles a little bit easier to manage. Okay, we're just gonna get after it. All right guys, we just planted 500 Menton tulip bulbs, 2,000 bulbs in the orchard for a total of 2,500 bulbs today. What an awesome treat it was to have Gabe and Katie down here to help with that. It went so much faster, so much faster. That would have been at least 2 days for me. So amazing, like the sign of a true friend that will travel 400 miles to help you plant bulbs, which in my mind is one of the most taxing projects out in the garden. I don't love to plant bulbs because, you know, you plant them and then you don't see anything. You don't see anything for months until they bloom, but oh, it's so worth it once you actually see that spring show, and then you're so proud of yourself that you actually went to the effort and, you know, spent the time planting them. So the first 200 ended up over there in that first flower bed we started in, and then we did 300 in this loop garden, which I think is gonna be gorgeous. So they start kind of in these asters right here, and they swing around, and then there's just groups of them, you know, placed here and there throughout this bed. Now, the only other bulb we have on this end of the loop, you can actually see some of the foliage poking through the ground right now. There's some snowflakes in here, and they bloom late. The Mentons bloom late. I hope they're blooming together. I think that would look so awesome. They kind of create a river. So they start, there's one group that starts here, goes around the buddleia, around the grass, behind the echinacea, and ends up over here by the hyssop. We've got some over here that start behind the sumacs, because the sumacs, you know, when the tulips are blooming, these won't be leafed out. So you'll be able to see these kind of tucked in throughout the flower bed, and they kind of swing around and into the Russian sage over here. And then there are a few groups right back in here. There's a grouping right there. We've got some around the Peter Cottontail yarrow and then into the penstemon right here. And then we ended off with 3 great big drifts right over here. And then on this side, I didn't want to go too far. Oh, we did some right here. Yeah, so they go through the penstemon. There's a group here behind the iris, and then right here by this grass and yarrow and stuff. We didn't go too much further this way because there are some Bud Light tulips in there, which are a really pale yellow. I can't wait to see the color in here, especially if all the mentons that we had come up last year. I hope they come up strong this year. I think it's gonna be beautiful to see that color kind of pulled throughout this whole space. And then the orchard, oh, that's gonna be fun, especially because there's some grass down. It's a whole new area. I mean, it looks completely different than it did even earlier this spring, you know, when it was still dirt in there and weeds that came up this spring. It's gone through quite the transformation this year. So anyway, you guys, that is it for today's video. We're actually Gabe and Katie actually headed up toward the house already. We're gonna all get cleaned up. We're gonna go have dinner together and just spend the rest of the weekend together. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.